Hi. How are you? It's Burgess, and we're going to talk about a lot of things, but first I'm going to show you a little bit of my September. After the keen, still days of September, the October sun filled the world with mellow warmth. The maple tree in front of the doorstep burned like a gigantic red torch. The oaks along the roadway glowed yellow and bronze. The fields stretched like a carpet of jewels, emerald and topaz and garnet. Everywhere she walked, the colors shouted and sang around her. In October, any wonderful, unexpected thing might be possible. Self-care is an ongoing practice. It's something that I've been working on. Doing things like adding morning pages back into my routine in the morning. But the first thing I do when I get up is stretches. I have to. I have rheumatoid arthritis. So stretching is mandatory. The other thing I do is a bit of meditation. I make coffee. I make my bed. I brush my teeth, wash my face, get dressed. But I am less likely to get up early the way that I want to, the way that I need to, if I don't go to bed on time. One of the most important acts of kindness that we can give ourselves is self-care. And self-care this past week was an act of kindness for myself or for someone else, or both. I chose both. When I'm at my best, my most creative, I feel really good. I feel inspired and motivated. And sometimes that inspiration and that motivation comes from unlikely places. But when I'm stressed out, when I'm overwhelmed, when my anxiety has the better of me, and I have procrastinated, there's clutter, I'm overwhelmed, it just gets worse. So one of the things that I did for myself, the kindness that I gave to myself, was to not berate myself for not having done some of the things that I meant to do when I meant to do them, and instead of procrastinating, letting things get to the point where the clutter was overwhelming, feeling guilty because I did that, or feeling guilty because I chose to stop using a notebook even though I had quite a bit of it left and start a whole new notebook because that's something that I needed to do for myself and I'm the one that bought it. So I felt guilty because I felt like, well, maybe it's a waste of money, but it's not, because eventually if I end up needing some paper from the back of that journal, I can always cut that out to fix a mistake in said similar journal. Or the journal can just sit with blank pages. I've been working on my schedule, and it's become extremely important to me that I actually am on a better routine. That when I walk into the studio, it is straightened from the night before and I'm ready to go to work. Or there's one little pile because I didn't want to take the trash in the dark. And I know that I need to do that first thing in the morning and then start my day in the studio. I've been trying to do things like revive plants, some of the garden stuff, planting things like mums, making myself feel better. That was an act of kindness. I need to film when it's quiet, when it's cooler. We haven't finished the insulation or the ceiling in my studio, and it's been really warm over the summer. And I'm not repeating this next summer. The kindness that I will show to myself over the cooler weather is to finish the ceiling in the studio when it gets cooler. Right now, it's really too hot to work up there in the ceiling, but as it gets cooler, I am going to. Been working on the side of the studio that is the craft table. I actually have my Windows computer set up finally. I do need to check the printer, make sure that's all hooked up, check the speakers, make sure that's all right. One of the things that I find the most helpful, might not work for everybody, but it works for me, is if I take care of some of my more basic needs, the more I take care of those basic needs, the better I feel. So I've talked about it a little bit ago in the video. My doctor's really happy with me. I've lost 8 pounds in the last 5.5 weeks or so. I have reduced my blood pressure back down to normal. My cholesterol's went down very close to being normal. So I'm doing much better. I'm doing a lot of the right things, but there are more right things I could be doing. Right things would be whatever's right for me, because what works for me may not work for somebody else. So hydration is a big thing because I am a sipper, so I don't drink a whole lot. One of the things that I found that's helpful is to keep a bottle of water here in the barn, to eat popsicles. I like the real fruit popsicles. Oh my goodness. To eat more fruit like tangelos, tangerines, oranges, apples. I love watermelon and plums and peaches, and I've been eating fruits for snacks, and doing those kinds of things have really helped. But some of the other things that have helped is getting back to journaling. I had kind of stopped doing some of the more Dear Diary text kind of journaling, and I noticed a difference. I think because there was so much going on in our lives that I felt like I just didn't have the time. I didn't have the time to do that kind of longhand journaling. I didn't take the time to, because I felt like my time was so limited. There's so much going on, more people in the house, it's busier. I'm busier trying, because I have more responsibility in the home. So I'm trying to juggle things, and I'm trying to find some balance, and I'm trying to take care of my health because I was sick for July and August. So we get to this point where I finally went, okay, I've got to quit doing so much for the house and everything else and start doing for me and start taking care of my health. Otherwise, I'm not going to be able to take care of anybody else. I started journaling again, and I hopped around in quite a few different journals, from composition notebooks, depending. If it was something I just needed and just vent, I would write down in my composition notebook. I have one that's over there in that stack, and I write in it whenever I just need to get something out, because I can either rip the pages out or cover them up with collage or whatever. I found that sometimes if I come across an idea and I'm just not quite sure about it, it's something I'm thinking about, maybe I need to change or improve, I'll jot down a question, start researching. I'll get in research mode, which helps me. So I have kind of found that this works very well for the projects and the research and the note taking and the bigger things. So I quit using it as a bullet journal, and it's become my project journal. I make mind maps and outlines and stuff for blog posts and videos. I'm jotting down because it is B5, so plenty of room for that. And I will, if there's a quote or a piece of collage or whatever that goes with, I add it in there. Not limiting myself. I am creative in a lot of different ways, and I don't know that I'm going to ever be minimalist in anything that I do. I'm just that kind of person. I wear red glasses and red lipstick. I used to be much more conservative in my dress and stuff, and I'm enjoying life. I'm at a place in my life where I'm not worried about what other people think. If they don't like my red glasses, then they don't have to get red glasses. They're for me, not for them. And that feels good. And that is also part of self-care, has to do with the way that we treat ourselves. So instead of berating myself for feeling selfish for taking some time for myself, no, that's not selfish. That is not an indulgence. You won't have anything to give if you don't have anything to give. You can't give from an empty well. A car will not run without gas or electricity or something. It has to have something pushing it, some kind of energy, some form of energy. And I'm not going to have any energy if I don't fill myself up with the things that provide me with energy. Food and water and creative outlets and rest, sleep. Yes, sleep. So, like I said, I have been working on a number of things. This coming week, I am going to be working on the prompt adventure. It's actually going to be, it's taking a walk. So we're going to go on a little adventure. We're going to take a 10 to 20, 30 minute, however long, has to be at least 10-minute walk. 10 or 15 minutes out in nature, can be longer if you like. By the end of that, either or during it or whatever, take a picture. You can stop and draw something, watercolor something. You can write a poem. Keep your notebook and a pen handy. And then if there's something, jot it down. If you see something or feel something or smell something, any of those little details. Right now, I'm not sure if you can hear because the Windows computer and the mini fridge in here are making a lot of noise. But if I'm quiet, you may be able to hear the birds. That song is just a beautiful song. I love when I can hear the birds. I may take a picture and then draw and watercolor and maybe write a little tiny poem. I may write a journal entry and draw and take a picture. I don't know, but I'm going to do something creative. Like when you have a travel journal and you go somewhere and you want a keepsake of that memory of your traveling. And people have travel journals, they have keepsake journals, they have all different kinds of things. And one of the great things about travelers' notebooks is that they come in all different shapes and sizes. Sketchbooks. And I have this little A6 sketchbook that I got from Bree. It is the Lagoon color. It's gorgeous. It's sort of a teal. And I do little outdoor sketches in it. This is actually for David. I have journals for the kids too, and it has a mixture of Tomo River paper and mixed media paper in it. And I just notate things, and so I may take this in my back pocket or in my backpack. I have a small backpack, and take my pencil. I've been doing a lot of drawing with this Condoroga. It's blue. And I have been actually drawing a lot with this pencil because it's like a regular pencil. I like the blue. I have the Pilot Eno, but I'm out of the light blue lead, and I'm out of the red lead, and I'm out of this darker blue lead. I just went to using this pencil. I use my mechanical pencils too, but I may take the mechanical pencil instead of this pencil, come to think of it, if I'm going to be outdoors. I don't want to have to take a pencil sharpener and all that stuff, so I may just take a mechanical pencil and my sketchbook and sketch and take a picture. And then whenever I get back, I can do the watercolor, maybe write a poem or a journal entry or whatever. That will be what I do this coming week. This past week, I worked on kindness, and some of the kindness that I have shown has been the whole month of September, which is why I wanted to show you bits of my September. My grandson was ill. He had a ear infection, and my daughter was sick. We weren't sure if she had COVID. David was suffering from COVID. His mom and dad had COVID. I had finally gotten better. Like I said, I was sick in July and August. So I went and picked up the kids and took my grandson to one of the doctor's care, Fast ER care, that kind of thing. And they weren't taking people inside anymore. You had to go in, get the paperwork, drop it off, and then wait in your car. It was a 4-hour wait or more. We ended up waiting for about 5.5 hours, and I had both the kids with me, and Selena is 2. So keeping a 2-year-old occupied in a vehicle, and I couldn't just sit with the car running with the air conditioner running the whole time. So I did things to keep them occupied. Like I got out my journal and I had the calendars, the sticker calendars from Stology, and I let them draw on those. And I always keep like a marker and a pen and a pencil and paper and stuff like that in my purse. I keep my black standard leather traveler's notebook in my vehicle for the purpose of out and about traveling kind of thing. This is a sketchbook. I have journals everywhere. I carry a little green memo thing around with me everywhere, in addition to I'm serious about the taking notes or journaling or whatever when I'm out and about. They journaled and they drew and they played and they had so much fun, and I did too, but that only lasted for a little while because the 2-year-old got distracted, and once the 2-year-old got distracted, the 9-year-old got distracted because they were going to text me when it was time for the doctor to see Victor. So we went and grabbed some lunch very close by. We went to Sonic and we got corn dogs and some French fries, and Victor got a milkshake. I had such a great time with them, and I did document. And Victor had his mask on, and Selena is only 2. She turned 2 in August, so she really doesn't wear a mask. But because Victor has his mask on, she wanted a mask, so I had an extra. I keep 2 extra masks in my vehicle. I put the mask on her, and it was so cute and adorable. And those are the moments like I have been having. Those are just as much a part of my self-care as the drinking water or the getting enough sleep. I have to have those moments with my loved ones. They're extremely important. If you're at that place like I was where, and it happens if you're working and you have a family, no matter what kind of working you're doing, if you're in the kitchen and you've just finished dinner, do you go ahead and do the dishes right then and there so that they are not taking up all that space and so your OCD doesn't go crazy? Or do you stop after dinner and just spend some time with the grandkids or your kids? Or do you go do the dishes immediately? And then my grandkids do not live with me. I was raised a certain way, and the more that I am looking at things now as a grandparent, the more that I'm realizing that some of those things, they're just not really that important. I'll get to them. And I'm trying to work through the anxiety and the OCD, the clutter. If I don't do it right away, like the dishes, then the clutter is going to bug me. I cannot stand to try to cook in a dirty kitchen or a messy kitchen. We'll say a messy kitchen because my kitchen is not really dirty. It gets messy. I clean it when it gets clean, but it does get messy when you cook. Sometimes clean as I cook, but when I'm cooking a bunch of things, that doesn't always happen. I want to be able to spend quality time with my family, but I have been feeling guilty. Well, I've got to get work done. The flexible schedule when you work for yourself has its pros and cons. If I don't stay on schedule, it's harder for me to get back on schedule and to get everything done because I do need to be out here either early in the morning when it's cool or late in the afternoon or the evening when it's cooler. Being out here in the middle of the day when it's super hot, that air conditioner's running and our light bill has gone sky high because of that. And I have been trying, but if I'm going to bed late because I'm working late, and then I'm getting up late, then by the time I'm waking up, it's right when the sun is starting to get the hottest. So if I'm waking up at 9 or 10 in the morning instead of the 5 or 6 in the morning, then by the time I do all the getting up, stretching, taking a shower, brushing my teeth, that kind of thing, it's already, 10 or 11 o'clock. And then I get the coffee and I'm out here. And by then it's like 11:30, 12 o'clock. And then I'm out here during the hottest part of the day. So with the lights, which is why it is a bit different right now because I have been shutting off one row of the track lighting, opening the curtain for the door so I get a little bit of natural light in, but it's just too hot with both rows of the track lighting on. Now it's fine in the wintertime because it gets cold and the lights warm it up in here. But I've had to figure out what works and what doesn't work, and quality time with my children or my grandchildren or my husband or my mom or other family members. It's important to my mental well-being, my emotional well-being. And that's also part of self-care. I've been working on boundaries and trying to find that line between what is and isn't working. I can't take off every single day and go just frolic around and not get my work done. And I could stay up late every single night while it's cool and, but then then my husband is like missing me. He doesn't sleep as well when I'm not there. So it's a fine line, I think. And self-care is vital. And July, August, and September, it seemed I was sick for most of the summer. So it's been even more important to me to take better care of myself so I don't get sick like that again. Because what was just a little sinus infection ended up being a sinus infection and bronchitis and pneumonia and COVID and oh my. 2 months of being sick. I'm feeling better. I am cleaning up my space. I have the Windows computer set up. I need to track down some passwords, change some passwords. Like I might move the bookcase over a little one way or the other and things like that because I don't know that I want it right in front of the monitor. I would like to have a little bit more room. I don't know that I want the tower on the top of the table. I may move some things. I'm going to be rearranging a few things, but I finally got that cleared off enough where I can actually see the table. So I'm journaling and like I said, I'm making some changes and I'm making those changes based on what is and isn't working for me, what I do and don't resonate with, and as I am going through self-care, and as I am going through cleaning and decluttering and organizing, and back to journaling, and back to hopefully writing blog posts and sketching, text journaling, doing more of the stuff that really brings me joy and that helps with my anxiety. Being creative is such an anxiety release for me. It makes me feel so much better. It's a de-stressor. Journaling, watercoloring, reading, all the creative things make me feel better and lessen my anxiety. I hope that you've enjoyed this vlog, and it's probably a little bit chattier than I meant it to be, but I'm trying to get better at doing the vlogs. I'm trying to base my chats around things that I am doing currently for the vlog, like where I'm actually talking about and showing you bits and pieces of my life. I'm thinking about doing a sort of studio vlog once every 2 weeks for YouTube. I do them weekly on Patreon unless I do something else. And I still kind of add bits and pieces. Some of the coffee chats are vloggy because I like throwing in bits and pieces. Yeah, I'm learning. I'm still not coordinated very well with it, but I'm getting better and learning, and it's fun. It's fun to learn. I'm actually writing down little bits and things, and I'll end this with a quote. An old Chinese proverb: "It is better to take many small steps in the right direction than to make it a great leap forward only to stumble backward." I've done a lot of stumbling backward. I saw this quote, and it's a very simple, very short quote. All appears to change when we change. Other things appear to have changed or change because we're looking at things differently. We're looking at things differently. It has to do with our perspective. And as I go through a lot of these self-care prompts, as I go through the trial and error of learning how to take better care of myself, of learning boundaries, I'm in my 50s. And just because I learned something doesn't mean it's the right thing, or maybe it doesn't mean it's the right thing for me anymore. Maybe it just isn't working for me now. So I am trying really hard not to do the people pleasing and to have these boundaries and to work on these things and to make changes, because I can think for myself. Just like history, when I was in elementary school in the 70s, what we were taught for history was some of it was actual lies. Bits and pieces of history were completely missing, were not talked about, and some of the history that we got was actual lies. Now, some of the truths are coming out, and we're like the Trail of Tears and the Rosewood Massacre. So there's lots of things, and I am finding my own truths with a lot of different things and finding my own way and try so that I can be a better mother, a better grandmother, a better daughter, a better spouse, a better friend, a better family member in general. And I've suffered a lot of loss in the last few years, and that my age happens. And I'm just trying to make the most of my life and let it be a better life. As Faulkner said, I'm shooting higher than I know I can, because I think I can. And some of the things I'm not quite sure about, I'm still kind of hoping. Y'all have a great one. Let me know in the comments if you are doing self-care, if there are things that you're working on for self-care, and you've learned, or things that you haven't, or things that you're still working on, or anything. Just let me know in the comments. And make sure that you hit the like, hopefully, and that you hit the subscribe and the little bell notification things. And if you can share it. And I hope that you have a great one, and love y'all.